Coach Locksley on the MWC.com. Coach, thank you for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me.
Do you feel the excitement around the corner when you're at an event like this?
Well, obviously this is typically kind of the start of the season, and so finally getting back to talking football after having a little time off here, definitely you can feel that it's time.
How'd spring ball go for you guys when you evaluate it?
It was great success. We were able to stay healthy for the most part, which is always critical, but I thought we were able to integrate our players, the new players, and we were able to sign, I think, 8 mid-year players, and then we had some transfers that have sat out for a year. We were able to get those guys integrated into our offense, defense, and special teams systems, and I like what I see.
I know a lot of guys will talk about Lamar Thomas and Deion Long. Can you just talk about that group in general that you expect to make an immediate impact in their first year?
Well, in this offense, it's always gone when you've got the three-headed monster per se, a quarterback, a really good running back, and then also having some skill on the outside. And I finally feel like we've got all three of those areas covered with the skill set, obviously with the addition of Lamar and Deion. The talent set that they bring is tremendous. They both are explosive players, but also with a guy like Ty Kirk, who's led us the last 2 years in receiving. Third year in the system, I definitely expect it. And then you can't forget Lucas Reed, who plays an integral role in our offense and creates quite a mismatch.
I imagine that those guys should help your running game. Who stands out in that department for you? Right?
Well, we're fortunate that we've got some experienced backs coming back. Casey Carrier finished the season as a starter. James Wright is an upcoming senior for us who has tremendous potential, size, speed, all the things you want. And we're hoping that he puts it all together for us this year to give us a great combination. And then we also have a freshman in Crusoe Gombe, as well as DeMarcus Rogers, who we moved from receiver. So we feel like we've got depth at that position, and they all have a tremendous amount of skill.
Can you update fans on what the quarterback situation, the competition will be like with BR and Tarian, and I imagine you have a couple other young guys too?
Well, we do. We were fortunate that we signed a young quarterback, Dustin Walton, who came in for spring ball, which is always a plus to bring a young quarterback in and get him an extra semester of knowing the system. But obviously with BR, he was the guy that was our starter last year going into the season before the injuries kind of kicked in, and then Tarian was basically our 1B before he went out with the injuries. And so both those two, it's a two-man race between those two, and then we'll also have the third guy in there with Dustin Walton, who has at least a spring under his belt.
Now, I think this will make you happy. 9 starters return on defense. How much does that help? I mean,
well, it's good and it's bad to a degree. It's good in the fact that you've got some experienced players. Obviously, when you're returning 9 starters on a defense that was ranked pretty low in the country, it's important to either get them to play better or get them replaced. And so we finally feel like we've been able to bring in some skill set in the secondary, which has been much maligned here the last few years. So we've been able to go recruit some depth, and for the first time we've tapped into some junior college players, which allow us to bring in some guys that have the ability to help you a little earlier than possibly a true freshman coming in. But I definitely think that having 9 guys that have played a lot of football, we're in the same system per se with the same terminology. We've tweaked it a little bit with Coach Barlow taking over the defense, but we've tried to keep it as consistent as we can so that we didn't have a big learning curve for our defense.
Talk about Coach Barlow and what he should bring to the table on defense.
George has always been that calming force. He's a guy that's well respected by his players. He's not a big yeller, but when he gets a point across, they know it. He's got a tremendous grasp of the 4-2-5, having done it and had much success with it at James Madison as well as at Oklahoma. And so his knowledge, and he's a guy that's been in the business for over 20 years, and it's a natural succession that when he came in, the plan was if something were to open up, he'd be the next guy in line, and he's done a great job getting the defense taught this spring.
When I say the name Carmen Messina, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Well, just effort. One thing when you put on tape, you're going to see Carmen Messina playing like his hair's on fire. He's one of those guys that understands that it's 4 seconds of all-out effort, and especially on the defensive side of the ball, which is why he's been involved in so many tackles the last couple of years. Doesn't necessarily mean that he's always the fastest or the strongest, but somehow, some way, because of his effort, he gets himself to the football and typically gets him down.
Is he a quiet leader, lead by example? What kind of guy is he?
He's definitely a lead by example guy, but you do see as he goes into his senior year, you see him emerging as more of a little more vocal guy. And I think the sense of urgency has kicked in for him, knowing that this is his last hurrah.
General expectations and goals that you've laid out for this team?
No, it's simple for us. Going into year 3, for us, the next step is getting ourselves bowl eligible. I really believe that we've got the pieces in place to find a way to win 6 or more games, and obviously that's the minimum. To be a bowl eligible team is the 6 wins, and we talked a lot about it. That's what we've preached all season long. Finding a way to get 6, and then whatever we get on top of that is icing on the cake as we go into year 3.
I can't remember the last time, 2 teams have opened with a conference game, and this league especially. How do you feel about that? It should be an exciting time.
Well, it's definitely very exciting when you open up the season with a conference opponent, and let alone one that had its way with us last year. Colorado State was the one game last season where I felt that they imposed their will on us, and we didn't respond. And so we've talked a lot about Colorado State. We've talked a lot about trying to start fast, and obviously with the goal of winning 6 and having a home opener for the first time in my tenure at New Mexico, we're pushing all our chips into the middle of the table, and we're looking forward to going out and competing.
Well, Coach, best of luck this year, and look forward to talking to you soon.
Thank you. Appreciate it.